Let's move ahead right now to what's happening in Bangladesh. Remember that we have seen that Muhammad Yunus has announced elections next year in Bangladesh. That is around April. And this is very significant given the fact that this is the first democratic elections the country is going to hold after the ouster of Sheikh Hasina. All this and much more coming right up in this report. Take a look.
In a televised address to citizens, Bangladesh's interim leader Muhammad Yunus announced the much-awaited general elections in the country. The troubled country will pick its next leader in the national polls in August of next year.
আমি আজ দেশবাসীর কাছে ঘোষণা করছি যে আগামী জাতীয় নির্বাচন 2026 সালের এপ্রিলের প্রথমার্ধের যে কোনো একটি দিনে অনুষ্ঠিত হবে।
The polls will be the first in the country since the ouster of former Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina in a so-called students' uprising in August 2024. The deposed former Prime Minister has been living in exile in India since the abrupt end to her 15-year rule. Hasina's party, the Awami League, was among the two largest national parties in Bangladesh to be banned since the coming of the Yunus-led caretaker regime. The declaration of polls came just days after the Khaleda Zia-led Bangladesh Nationalist Party, a partner in the interim regime, openly called for polls at the earliest. Yunus had also been under increasing pressure from Army Chief Waqar-uz-Zaman to hold the promised national polls. Reports earlier claimed that Yunus was considering stepping down in view of rising differences within the administration over the national polls.
Under mounting pressure from within the caretaker administration and the army chief, Bangladesh is, in fact, we're getting some updates coming in. Let's go ahead to the other story we're tracking, especially when we talk about what's happening in Israel. So in Israel, thousands of Israelis have gathered in front of the country's Supreme Court on Thursday. And this happened on the night of Thursday to protest what they saw as a judicial, I repeat, a judicial interference in Israel's war in Gaza. Now, the protesters were angered by the court's attorney general's moves to hinder the Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's removal of Roland Barr. That is right. That is ahead of the Israel's internal security services. Watch this report for more.
Thousands of Israelis gathered outside the country's Supreme Court to protest what they claim to be judicial interference in Israel's war against Hamas in Gaza. Israelis held a massive protest over the apex court and Attorney General's moves hindering Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's removal of Roland Barr, the head of Israel's security services. The protesters said Netanyahu should be able to remove and replace the country's intelligence chief without any legal interference.